When I was 30, I got fired from my own company, the company I started in my parents' garage, the company I poured my heart and soul into, and in one boardroom meeting it was all taken away from me. I felt like I had failed, not just in business but in life. But here's the thing about failure. It's not the end. It's a stepping stone. At the time I didn't see it, but being fired from Apple was the best thing that ever happened to me. It forced me to start over, to rediscover my passion, to build again. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of it. And today, I want to tell you why embracing failure might just be the key to moving forward and achieving everything you dream of. Failure is one of the most misunderstood concepts in life. From an early age, we are conditioned to believe that failure is something negative, something to be avoided at all costs. In school, failing a test is met with disappointment. In society, failing at a job or a business is often seen as a reflection of incompetence. But what if failure is not the enemy? What if failure is actually one of the greatest teachers we will ever encounter? The truth is, every failure holds within it a lesson, a key insight that has the power to transform the way we think, work, and grow. Think about some of the most successful people in history. They didn't reach the top because they avoided failure. They got there because they embraced it, learned from it, and used it as fuel to push forward. Thomas Edison, the man who gave us the electric light bulb, failed thousands of times before getting it right. When asked about his failures, he famously said, "I have not failed, I have just found 1,0,0,0,0 ways that won't work." This mindset is what separates those who succeed from those who give up. Instead of seeing failure as a dead end, they see it as a necessary step towards success. Every failure provides valuable feedback. When something doesn't work, it forces us to step back and analyze what went wrong. It teaches us about our weaknesses, our miscalculations, and sometimes even our strengths. It pushes us to improve, to refine our skills, and to approach problems with a new perspective. Without failure, there would be no progress. Imagine if the Wright brothers had given up after their first few unsuccessful attempts at flying. If they had viewed failure as a stop sign instead of a learning experience, we might not have modern aviation today. Failure also teaches resilience. It toughens us, strengthens our resolve, and forces us to develop the ability to keep going despite setbacks. Many people fear failure because they see it as a reflection of their worth. But failure doesn't define you. How you respond to it does. Every time you fail, you have two choices: to let it break you or to let it build you. Those who choose the second path become unstoppable. They develop the mindset that every failure is simply part of the journey, not the end of it. One of the greatest lessons failure teaches is humility. Success can sometimes create a false sense of invincibility. It can make people believe that they have all the answers, that they are immune to setbacks. But failure humbles us. It reminds us that we are always learning, always growing, and that there is always room for improvement. It forces us to listen more, to seek advice, and to become more self-aware. Some of the greatest innovations and breakthroughs in history have come from individuals who embraced failure as a tool for self-improvement. Failure also forces us to innovate. When something doesn't work, we are pushed to think differently, to approach a problem from a new angle. Some of the world's greatest inventions were born from failure. The sticky note, for example, was created by accident when a scientist at 3M was trying to develop a super strong adhesive and ended up creating a weak, reusable one instead. If he had seen that experiment as a failure instead of an opportunity, the world might never have had one of the most useful office supplies today. Beyond innovation, failure reveals true passion. When someone truly loves what they do, failure won't stop them. It may slow them down, frustrate them, or even temporarily discourage them, but it won't make them quit. When you're passionate about something, failure becomes an inconvenience rather than a roadblock. It becomes part of the process rather than the end of the road. Those who succeed are not necessarily the most talented or the most intelligent. They are the ones who refuse to quit, no matter how many times they fall. Most importantly, failure builds character. It teaches patience, persistence, and grit. It shows you who you are when things don't go as planned. It reveals your ability to adapt, to overcome, and to push forward when the odds are stacked against you. Those who have experienced failure and learned from it develop an unshakable inner strength. They become people who are not afraid of challenges, but instead welcome them, knowing that each challenge is simply another opportunity to grow. Rejection is something everyone experiences at some point in life, whether it's being turned down for a job, failing to get into a desired school, losing an opportunity, or facing personal rejection. It can feel like a harsh blow. Many people take rejection personally, believing it is a sign that they are not good enough or that their dreams are unattainable. But rejection is not the end of the road. It is often just a redirection, a push towards something even better than what was originally planned. Some of the greatest success stories in history are built on rejection, proving that what seems like a setback is often a disguised opportunity. One of the most famous examples is Walt Disney. Early in his career, he was fired from a newspaper job because his editor told him he lacked imagination and had no good ideas. If he had taken that rejection as a final verdict on his abilities, the world would have never seen the creation of Disney Studios, Mickey Mouse, or Disneyland. Instead, he used that rejection as motivation to pursue his dream in a different way. That redirection led him to a path far greater than the one he originally sought. Rejection forces people to reevaluate, adjust, and sometimes pivot entirely toward a new path. When something doesn't work out, it often means that it wasn't meant to, or that something better is waiting ahead. Steve Jobs is another example. After being fired from Apple, the company he co-founded, he could have seen that rejection as a sign that he wasn't capable. But instead of giving up, he took that time to build new companies, Next and Pixar. Eventually, Apple bought Next, and he returned to lead the company to some of its greatest innovations. His firing wasn't the end of his journey. It was a necessary detour that allowed him to come back stronger. Rejection can also reveal what truly matters. Many people chase goals because they think they should, not because they truly want to. When rejection happens, it forces a moment of reflection. Was this truly the right path, or was it just the most obvious one? Sometimes, rejection helps people discover their real passions. J.K. Rowling's manuscript for Harry Potter was rejected by multiple publishers before one finally accepted it. If she had given up after the first rejection, she might have never become one of the most successful authors in history. That rejection was not a stop sign. It was simply a test of how much she truly believed in her work. Rejection also builds resilience. Those who face setbacks and keep going develop mental toughness that others don't. Every rejection strengthens a person's ability to handle challenges in the future. The ability to keep pushing forward despite rejection is often what separates those who succeed from those who don't. Many aspiring entrepreneurs, artists, and professionals give up after facing rejection, believing it to be a sign that they aren't meant to succeed. But those who persist, who see rejection as a redirection rather than a failure, are the ones who eventually achieve their goals. Rejection also teaches adaptability. Sometimes rejection happens because the approach wasn't right. A writer might need to refine their style, an entrepreneur might need to adjust their business model, or an athlete might need to improve their technique. Rejection provides valuable feedback that allows for growth and improvement. Instead of seeing it as a failure, those who succeed see it as a learning experience, a chance to adjust and come back stronger. Many of the world's most innovative ideas were born from rejection. Airbnb was rejected by investors multiple times before becoming a global success. The Beatles were told they had no future in music before becoming one of the most influential bands in history. Oprah Winfrey was once told she wasn't fit for television before going on to become one of the most powerful media personalities in the world. In each case, rejection was simply a redirection towards something greater. Rejection is not always about ability. Sometimes it's about timing. The right opportunity may not be available at the moment, but that doesn't mean it won't come later. Many people experience rejection early in their careers only to find success years later when they have gained more experience, skill, or understanding. The key is to keep going, to not let redirection define self-worth, and to trust that redirection often leads to something better. Rejection also filters out those who are not truly committed. Those who are easily discouraged by rejection often give up too soon, while those who persist demonstrate their passion and dedication. When a person is willing to push past rejection, they prove to themselves and the world that they are truly committed to their goals. This perseverance is often what leads to breakthroughs, because the longer someone stays in the game, the more chances they have to succeed. Life is full of obstacles, setbacks, and unexpected challenges. No matter how carefully a plan is laid out, things often don't go as expected. Some people stop when they face difficulties. feeling overwhelmed by failure, rejection, or hardship. Others keep moving forward, no matter what. The difference between success and failure is not intelligence, luck, or talent. It is persistence. Those who refuse to quit, who push through difficulties even when everything seems to be against them, are the ones who ultimately achieve their goals. One of the most important aspects of moving forward is understanding that setbacks are temporary. When faced with failure, many people assume that it is permanent, that it defines them or limits their future. But failure is just a moment in time, a single chapter in a much longer story. No successful person has a smooth journey. They all experience failure, loss, and rejection. But what sets them apart is their ability to keep going despite these challenges. Every obstacle presents a choice: give up or push forward. When people give up, they confirm failure as their final outcome. But when they keep moving, they give themselves a chance to turn things around. History is filled with people who faced devastating failures but refused to stop. Abraham Lincoln lost multiple elections before becoming president. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Colonel Sanders was rejected over 1,000 times before finding a restaurant that would use his fried chicken recipe. Each of these individuals had every reason to give up, but they didn't. They kept moving, and eventually they succeeded. Moving forward also requires a shift in mindset. Instead of seeing failure as an endpoint, it must be seen as part of the journey. When a child learns to walk, they fall repeatedly. They don't stop trying because they fell once or twice. They instinctively know that falling is part of the process. Somewhere along the way, many people lose this natural resilience. They start believing that failure means they aren't good enough, that they should stop trying. But the truth is, every step forward, even after a fall, is progress. One of the biggest challenges to moving forward is self-doubt. Many people allow negative thoughts to stop them before they even try. They tell themselves they aren't talented enough, smart enough, or strong enough. They compare themselves to others who seem to have it all figured out. But everyone struggles at some point. Even the most successful people have moments of doubt and fear. The difference is that they don't let those doubts stop them. They take action despite their fears. Resilience is built through action. The more someone pushes forward in difficult times, the stronger they become. Each time they overcome an obstacle, they gain confidence in their ability to handle challenges. Over time, persistence becomes a habit, and difficulties that once seemed overwhelming become manageable. The only way to build resilience is to keep going, even when things feel uncertain or impossible. Another key aspect of moving forward is focusing on what can be controlled. Many people get stuck because they focus on things beyond their control: past mistakes, other people's opinions, unfair circumstances. But progress comes from taking action in the areas that can be influenced. Even small steps forward create momentum. A writer facing rejection can improve their craft. An entrepreneur struggling with setbacks can adjust their strategy. An athlete who loses a competition can train harder. The key is to take action, however small, instead of staying stuck in frustration. Moving forward also means being willing to adapt. Sometimes things don't go as planned, and adjustments need to be made. Some people resist change, holding on to a specific idea of how things should be. But success often requires flexibility. If one path doesn't work, another can be taken. Many successful businesses, careers, and inventions started as something entirely different than what they became. Those who keep going despite unexpected changes often find opportunities they never anticipated. Support systems also play a crucial role in persistence. Having people who encourage, motivate, and challenge helps in difficult times. Surrounding oneself with positive influences, whether friends, mentors, or role models, can make a significant difference. Even the most determined individuals sometimes need encouragement, and having the right people around can provide the motivation to keep moving forward. Patience is another essential quality in overcoming obstacles. Many people want instant success and give up when results don't come quickly. But real progress takes time. Seeds don't grow into trees overnight, and success doesn't happen instantly. Those who achieve great things understand that persistence over time leads to results. They trust the process, continue putting in the effort, and believe that their work will pay off in the long run. Taking action, no matter how small, is what creates movement. Many people wait for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect circumstances before they start. But waiting often leads to inaction. The best way to move forward is to start, even if the steps seem small or imperfect. Every bit of progress builds on itself, and consistency over time leads to big results.